This video is going to be dismantling the 5-speed donor, which is probably worst case scenario in mine because it's rusty junk. But regardless, you got to get the 5-speed stuff from somewhere. I'm a little bit sad tearing this thing apart because I had a lot of good times with this hunk of shit. Okay, I just snatched the console out. There's a 10mm nut here, here, and here. So that is pretty simple. And there's a jam nut on the shifter to pop that thing off. You can see the two studs there and there. This was full of swamp water, and I had something living in here too. So I cut the floor carpet out of this a long time ago after flooding it so many times. Made my own floor mats. I'm just going to cut this carpet and see what we got under here for the shifter. Okay. Just a whole bunch of 7mm holding this thing in. Pretty easy. Okay, this is what we've got. Oh, does that come from the bottom? Yeah, I think that foam comes from the bottom. Okay. I was also wondering if there was any kind of stamping for the floor here. I don't really see it, so I'm just going to have to take measurements to make my cut for the other one. Okay, I charged up a battery. Let's see if the old shitter starts. Oh, she froze. I hear fuel pump. Oh. Okay, does run. Hope it idles. There it goes. So here we are, about to be decommissioned. There's that clutch master cylinder I was talking about with the other one. A little easier to get to here without any cruise control. And I already grabbed the console and shifter boot thing. I gotta grab the clutch pedal and some miscellaneous stuff here. If you watch my video about the metal clutch pedal pins that I did, I'll put that video link here. I'll show you how to get the clutch pedal out without having to pull the whole dash. You can just knock those plastic pins out. If you'd rather save the 69 bucks that I'm selling these metal pins for, here is a how-to on the gigantic ass ache of pulling the whole dash out. Okay, after a ton of screws, basically all the little screws and brackets that you can find for this thing, take them out of there. You got the ones up top. Some are hidden by the speaker grill. Get everything up here. And then the bottom of the dash, it'll flop forward. And then you have to pull up to release it. Okay, now with the dash out of the way, we just got to pop this whole thing out, and that's what holds the brake and clutch pedal. So that was easy. I was trying to work around this steering wheel. I got the dash out without pulling the steering wheel out because I didn't want to mess with unhooking it from like the steering shaft. But see, you got the two studs there. They already had off, and I was hoping I could just yank on this thing enough to get it off the studs and then bend it and whatever, because this thing's junk. I don't care about saving it, but that's all you do is yank that thing out of there. Just got a little kind of clip holding it in place, and there's nothing holding it mechanically. And there is the last one I was looking for. There's a nut on this. So I tried prying this thing off of here. There's 4 nuts on the top. There's a bolt from the top. There's a bolt from the bottom over here to pull out. And I figured this whole thing would come out. But now we're good. So that was an airbag wire I just clipped. Or you could unplug it ahead of time. There we have our clutch and brake pedal. Finally. we go. I'm going to have to unhook that pin lock. So here is the factory firewall hole. It's got that rectangle, and then actually this first layer is a circle, so that hole saw will be perfect. Okay, so this comes out to 1.965. Wait, hold on. I think I was inaccurate. Probably right there, 1.969. Yeah. I don't feel sketchy under this at all. This looks fine. This one's really good. I like that one. But I gotta get this 5-speed out of here. Taking the skid plate off here. Wow, it was a lot heavier than I thought. So this is the key to the front drive shaft bolts. Swivel, an adapter down to 3/8, and a 6-point shallow 11mm socket. I tried a few things and couldn't get it to work until that specific combo. Transfer case fluid actually looks fine. Okay. The synchro mesh in here looks pretty good too. And this transmission's a lot lower mileage than the other one, so I'm thinking that's the way I'm gonna go. Yeah, that was a lot easier than trying to get those bolts out. So like normally I leave the transmission on, pull the transfer case off, and then deal with just the transmission. This has like these braces that go from the transmission to the transfer case that I might be able to get to now that I got this stuff off. And then we'll try it out. Otherwise, the whole thing has to come back as a whole. So I'm thinking to myself as I'm doing this, like, Jesus, these S10 guys are for real when they say, like, there is no room to do anything under here. This is even with the tail shaft touching because I cut the cross member out already. And then it dawned on me that, you know, the fact that the body is sitting down a bit further than it should be might have something to do with it. Yeah, like I saw on this side here, I think that's supposed to be straight across up here. So it's laying right on the frame. That ain't helping. I did try to get the body bolts out of it. I got 2 out. The rest of them, no bueno. But it might be able to just lift the body and then have it fall off the frame. I'm going to give that a shot. Okay, I laid my phone down by the floor. Let's see what happens when we try and lift this up. I couldn't get those bolts out, but I think it'll probably pull through. Sticking here. It looks like those pulled through, no problem. Yeah. All right, what do we got hooking here? Let's see. Yeah, I guess that wasn't a problem coming apart. Or that one over there that I couldn't get. Yep, that came apart pretty easy. I think that came out of the body. Oh, no way. I think what's holding it is this ratchet strap that I had for the fender. Let me see. Yep, that's hilarious. That's awesome. Okay. We're gonna have to whack it.
Yeah.
There we go. Finally. Well, that put up a fight. Look at this clutch. This thing has been through hell. It was starting to slip right at the end. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, it looks like there's still a lot of friction left, but it was slipping. Oh, that's a heavy one. Holy shit. Figured if this looked really good, I'd just run it. But there's a little bit of a lip there, so have to get that flattened. Look at the freaking critters in there. So if your 5-speed swap is a rear-wheel drive setup, your donor probably has an iron front diff, which it would be a good idea to swap that as well, because we all know 5-speed's a little harder on drivetrain parts than an automatic. It's not necessarily super easy though. Okay, I'm stealing the wall bro back out of this thing. I'll save that for later. I cut the rubber out of the body bushings, made these basically solid spacers. This is a piece of a winch plate. This is just angle iron, that angle that I hammered and booger welded. This is an NPT nipple. I cut it in half and used it for the leaf spring bushings themselves. Looks like my booger weld did eventually break here, but this was so friggin' rotten, I can't believe it worked at all. Alright, this thing came back down out of alignment. I'm going to see if we can fix that reasonably easily. Yeah, I'd say that's good enough. Crowbar can get a lot of work done in a hurry. Bye-bye, Blazer.
Okay. There the POS goes. Hopefully it don't overtake his. Yeah, it's not gonna. Okay.
You gonna steer?
Yep. Hang on. Yeah, here we are in this POS Blazer. She's actually... Yeah, I think we're pretty good right here. Close. That's close enough for me. It's out of the way. Huh?
Put the e-brake on? Put it in gear?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I'll put her in gear.
So I know this is a factory 5-speed. Look how rough that edge is here. It looks like they plasma cut it from the factory. Okay, robbed the wheels off the shitter, got them sold on Facebook. We'll meet the guy tomorrow. Of course, the iron front diff sold immediately after dragging it outside and selling the wheels. So now I've got to get it back in. I had to grab the spare off the new ZR2 and find the Gambler spare in the snow. right, now that pain in the ass is done. Yeah, we made it in here. There ain't much room with that truck between that lift. It's pretty tight. But we made it in here, and I can yank this diff out. Ain't welding gloves, but probably better than nothing. I think that's going to get me in there. All I need is that 18mm wrench to get in there so I can get that bolt. That will probably do it. Oh, there it is. It's on. Nice. Oh, that was actually super easy. I like it. There. Finally. Jesus. This was really a nightmare coming out, because I didn't want to take the whole suspension apart. I mean, look at this. It's not going back together, and I still want this to roll out of the garage. So what I ended up having to do, I tried cutting this with a plasma. That didn't really work. So I ended up just cut the axle shaft in half to give this enough movement so this would start to pop out. And it was still a nightmare, so I had to cut the end off. But finally, we got it. I might have been able to get it come down the other way, but the ear was hitting on the drag link. Everywhere you go, it was hitting on something. Oh, and the casting was hitting on here too. Okay, got the diff all apart. This iron casing is what the guy bought from me. He's building a twin turbo all-wheel drive S10. Should be pretty sweet. Everything swaps over between the aluminum housing and the iron housing. Just the housing itself is a lot stronger when it's iron. Only came on 5 speeds to my knowledge. Here's the little baby diff. And what I had wanted to do was actually weld the spider gears up, make it a Lincoln locker, basically. But once I actually looked at it and saw it didn't have a cover and it had to come out, I was like, yeah, screw that. And with how much of a pain in the ass this was, that was the right choice. Next video is going to be putting the 5-speed stuff in the automatic Blazer. 4L60 delete with more pedals, more gears, and less neutrals. Let's reminisce about some of this amazing engineering. I got the vice grips holding the 4-wheel drive actuator in place. This is an old GMT 800 fuse block relay that I set up for my LEDs. I've got zip ties holding the radiator in place because this shit all broke apart. I've got a ratchet strap holding the fender together because there is no metal holding it together anymore. There's zip ties holding the distributor cap on because one of the screws broke off. Both of the fuel lines here are converted from steel line to nylon line with these little special compression fittings for that. They actually work freaking awesome. The hitch pin doors we all already know because I got a video on that. Alright, I've been meaning to do these measurements forever. We got 5.5 and 22.5 down here over to here. 21 3/8, 4-inch, 4 3/4, and 9 1/8. That lines the snorkel up perfectly with the A-pillar. Taking all these spare parts off, I almost forgot about my vice grip. Oh shit, that's on there. That might need WD-40 to even come apart.